right, guys, we are now beginning Unit 10, and Unit 10 comprises of two indicators, and that is indicators 33 and 34, okay? And indicator 33 is all about surveys and statistical questions, non-statistical questions, and you are supposed to look at a question and know whether it is statistical or not, and be able to explain with reasoning, okay? And indicator 34 is all about the measures of central tendency. So let's get started, and you can see the learning target. I can determine if a question is statistical, okay? So the best way I can describe statistical question is that you are collecting data that varies. Okay, the answer is not the same by different people. So you definitely have a lot of different answers to that question which is given to you. And very often you have to collect the percentage, calculate the percentage, the average, the mean, the range. So there's a lot of calculations going on, and it does not have a specific answer, okay? Whereas in a non-statistical question, there is only one answer. So if I give you some examples, let's say I ask you for a statistical question, and it's like, let's say I ask you that what do the sixth graders like to eat for lunch? My goodness, that is such a wide topic where you have to collect so much data. It is not going to happen that I teach 120 kids, let's say times whatever, let's say we have 600 sixth graders. Okay, and it is not going to happen that everyone says, I love pizza, that's my favorite food, and I only eat pizza for lunch. Imagine all 600 children eating pizza. What is the coincidence of that ever happening? Okay, so this is one in which a lot of a survey has to be done, and survey is where you are collecting data from a large population. And so that is where statistical questioning comes in. So if I say, what do sixth graders like to eat for lunch? It is a statistical question because you are collecting data from a large population, and every child may have a different thing that they're eating for lunch, okay? If I say something like, what time did the students in this class wake up this morning? Once again, that is absolutely a statistical question because somebody may have woken up at 4 o'clock, somebody must have woken up at 5, somebody at 5:10, somebody at 6. Some of you are the type who will be running to the bus stop last minute, throwing on your shoes and everything. So you're waking up at 7. So there's such a wide range of numbers over there where you will have to calculate the average, and so that is why it is definitely a statistical question. Okay, now let's talk about the non-statistical questions. Let's say I ask you, how many brothers do you have? Now, if I say that, literally, you're just going to say, I have one brother. I can tell you, I have one brother. So it's a very specific answer. And there's only one answer. It's not miraculously changing that suddenly you end up with 100 brothers. You know what I mean? So it's a very specific answer where you are saying how many brothers you have. If I ask you, what did you eat for lunch? So again, very specific. You tell me what you ate. I don't have to gather the data from anyone else. And you are just telling me what you ate. So it is a one answer. Okay, so that is what non-statistical is. All right. So let's go ahead and look at these questions. And we are going to see, all right, what could the answer be? And is it a statistical question or is it a non-statistical question? What is it? Okay, so the first question is, how many days are in March? Now, that is definitely non-statistical. We know that March has 31 days. Okay, so there's a one straight up answer over there. we don't need data collected or averages made and things like that. Every March has the same number of days. So that's why it is just one answer to that. So that is a non-statistical question. Okay. Now, the next question is, how old is your dog? Now you better know your dog's age. Okay. So how old is your dog? And again, straight up number. Okay. Like I know exactly my puppy is 4 months old right now. So there's just one answer to that. Okay. When somebody asks you the age of a pet or your age, then it is a non-statistical question because you only have one answer. Okay. Let's look at the next question. On average, how old are the dogs that live on the street? Now, this one, first and foremost, the keyword right there is average. But even if on average was not given, if you are looking at the dogs that live on the street, guys, you might have a little puppy, newborn puppy. You might have a 2-month puppy, 4-month puppy. You might have a really old dog, 13 years, 14 years, 15 years. So there is so much variety. And that's what makes a question statistical, because you have to collect all that data and then find an average. So because there may be so many different dogs with so many different ages living on that street, this question is definitely a statistical question. Okay? Let's talk about the next question. The next question is saying, how old are the people who have watched this video in 2013? Okay, now, first and foremost, we do not know what video they're talking about. We just know the year, but guess what? How old? That is such a wide topic. Okay, it could be a 2-year-old, it could be a 10-year-old, it could be a 20-year-old, it could be it could be a 50-year-old, an 80-year-old. You don't know how old. It didn't specify a certain thing. So that is why, because you have to take all those ages into factor, it was not clear cut enough in 2013. How old are the people? There's such a variety of ages over here that you would have to take the average in this case to calculate it. And you have to do a survey of a large population. There's not one exact answer on this one. So that is why this is a statistical question. Okay. Let's look at this one. Do dogs run faster than cats? Now, don't just say yes just because we love dogs. Okay. I love both dogs and cats. Here's the thing. It depends on a lot of factors. Okay, this is one of those questions. It is absolutely statistical. Okay, because you have so many different breeds of dogs. Okay, you have so many different breeds of cats. Think about a Chihuahua that is so tiny, and then you have a German Shepherd, or you have a Rhodesian Ridgeback, or you have a Great Dane. You have all these big dogs. Okay, some dogs run faster than cats, but there are some cats. You should see my cat, how fast she can run up and down the stairs and everywhere. Okay, so some cats run faster than dogs. You should see my dog too. My puppy is no less in the speed. Okay, so we can't generalize that only dogs can run faster than cats, because it can be either way. Depends on the breed. It depends on how old the dog or cat are, because you could have a little kitten and you could have a really old dog. So obviously the kitten is going to run faster. The age factor is there. The nutrition is there. How healthy is the dog or cat? There are so many factors that go into this. So some dogs run faster than cats, and some cats run faster than dogs. Okay. So this is one of those where you would really need to get a lot of data, and the data is going to vary. And because there is such a variability in data, this requires a lot of calculations, and it is a statistical question. Okay, now let's look at the next question. Okay, the next question is saying, do wolves weigh more than dogs? Again, this is the same kind of question. It's very general. When it's saying, do wolves weigh more than dogs? Wolves sometimes weigh more than dogs. Like if I am comparing them with the little, the little breed of dogs like Chihuahuas and things like that. But again, depends on the age. Well, wolf puppies are rather big, but it depends. In some cases, wolves weigh more. In some cases, they weigh less. You should have seen the size of the Tibetan Mastiff I saw when I went to climb Everest. Okay, when I had gone there, those Tibetan Mastiffs are huge. And when when you've seen the picture in the classroom, literally they look like lions. All right. So it depends on the breed of the dog. Doesn't always matter that wolves are faster or not just because they're in the wild. No, it depends on a lot of factors. You have to get a lot of input of data in this case. There's a lot of variability in this data. So no, this is definitely a statistical question, okay, because a lot goes into this. All right. Now, next thing it's saying, will I use less gas driving at 55 miles per hour than 70 miles per hour? Okay. Again, absolutely statistical question. There are so many factors that can influence this. Okay. It depends on, let's say, what kind of vehicle you have. It depends on how old is your vehicle. It depends on have you had oil change or not. Depends on the road conditions. Okay. Also depends if you are going on the straight highway or if you're going on the curved roads. Weather conditions. There are so many things that affect this factor, so you don't know, when you're using less gas, whether when you're driving at 55 or 70 miles per hour, because there are so many other factors that come into this that the average has to be taken. There is so much variability due to this. So that is why this is definitely a statistical question. Okay. Does it rain more in Seattle than Singapore? Okay. Now, this is not just comparing the rainfall in Seattle to Singapore. I visited Singapore 2 times. Yes, it does rain there. I've been to Seattle also. It rains there also. But because they have not put a timeline to this, it's not asking on a certain day. If it had specified that, September 1st, 2020, did it rain more in Seattle or in Singapore? Then that becomes statistical, because then you can just compare that. But because in this one, it's just saying, does it rain more in Seattle than Singapore? I mean, what are we talking about? Are we talking about in a month, in a year, a decade? What timeline are we talking about over here? Okay. So you definitely need to come up with an average of the rainfalls in the 2 cities, because there is so much variability in this factor. It has not given a specific timeline, and that's what makes this question highly statistical. Okay. Next one. Do English professors get paid less than math professors? Okay. Now again, this is highly statistical. Some English professors get paid more and some math professors get paid more. It depends on a lot of factors. It depends on, first and foremost, it can depend on your level of education. Are you an undergrad teacher? Are you a grad teacher? Are you a PhD teacher? How many degrees do you have? That can definitely affect your pay scale. It depends on the number of years of experience. The more you work in a school system or in any place, normally your pay goes up. Okay. It depends on a lot of factors, which place you're working in, because some pay more, some pay less, which city you're working in. So this is again a very, one of those questions where you would have to collect an average. And so this is definitely a statistical question. Okay. Does your dog weigh more than the wolf? Now, this is very specific, all right? You know the weight of your dog, you know the weight of the wolf, and so then it's either a yes or a no question. So I can say either yes, my dog weighs more than the wolf, or no, my dog does not weigh more than the wolf. So this is a non-statistical question because there is just one answer. Okay, so I hope that all these examples make you have a better understanding. Please remember, in a statistical question, you have to collect a lot of data. There's a lot of variability. You have to calculate averages and percents, a range, etc. So there are a lot of answers for one question. Okay. However, when you have a non-statistical question, you have a very precise answer for that question. Like if I ask you, how old are you? You are going to tell me, I'm 11, I'm 12, I'm 13. So it's a specific question which only has one answer. Okay, and so that is why that is a non-statistical question. All right, so that's what indicator 33 is about. All right, guys, have a wonderful day.